June 2020 Planetary Transits for Libra and Libra Rising. This is an equal house chart set up for 0 degrees Libra on the ascendant, Eastern Daylight Time, New York. We begin June 1st, 2020 with 2 retrograde planets in Capricorn in the 4th house sector. Jupiter at 26 degrees conjunct Pluto at 24 degrees of Capricorn. The Sun is placed in the 9th house at 11 degrees of Gemini with the planet Venus at 15 degrees of Gemini, retrograde. The planet Mercury is at 4 degrees of Cancer in the 10th house. In the 5th house, we have the planet Saturn at 1 degree of Aquarius, retrograde. Mars is moving through the 6th house at 12 degrees of Pisces with Neptune at 20 degrees Pisces. The moon is in Libra at 8 degrees in the 1st house sector, and Uranus is in the 8th house at 8 degrees of Taurus. Overview. June of 2020 brings 3 major events: the second hit at exactitude of the magnificent Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, an annular solar eclipse, and the entrance of Mars in Aries for a 6-month-long transit. Let's look at each one and determine the life areas that will be impacted. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction will make its second hit at exactitude in your 4th house sector at 24 degrees Capricorn, 6 minutes, retrograde. Planets in retrograde motion bring a review and readjustment. In the 4th house, your home, family relationships, the dynamics of your domicile will be readjusted to meet changing conditions. Additionally, due to the positive, expansive nature of this conjunction, whatever you require to move forward will be available. This conjunction is characterized by lucky, fated events, but there are pitfalls ahead over the next 6 months due to Mars in high tension. Please refer to my videos on the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction 2020 for Libra and Libra Rising, uploaded in December 2019, as well as my video on the 6-month transit of Mars in Aries for Libra and Libra Rising. The second and third events of importance occurring in June 2020 is the annular solar eclipse of June 21st at 0 degrees Cancer, 21 minutes, happening in your 10th house of career goals, plans, and responsibilities, activated by Mars entering Aries on June 27th. On June 27th, 28th, and 29th, as Mars ignites the eclipse point in your 10th house, there could be a crisis or just intense activity and change professionally. Eclipse activations bring emphasis and focus to the life area it impacts. Of course, if you know your exact time of birth and have your astrological chart, you'll also have greater accuracy of interpretation. On June 2nd, Venus square Mars between houses 9 and 6 could bring friction with a coworker who doesn't share the same vision for increased productivity in the workplace. You may be told that your ideas and goals are not practical. The planet Venus conjuncts the Sun on June 3rd in your 9th house, a very sociable and affectionate energy. Romantic and creative pursuits are favored, as well as international connections. June 5th brings the full moon, 3:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 15 degrees of Sagittarius in opposition to the Sun at 15 degrees of Gemini, spanning houses 3 and 9, highlighting travel, all forms of communication, both local and international, legalities, education, the conscious mind, and the intuitive mind. The planet Mars at 15 degrees of Pisces is making a high-tension square, 90-degree aspect to this full moon. This is a highly frictional and impatient full moon. Be careful of what you say and how you say it at this time to avoid a major conflict with others. If you're on the road today, drive defensively especially if you're irritated or frustrated. On June 6th, under Sun square Mars, between houses 9 and 6, intense ego conflicts with others in your job environment could erupt. This is an aspect of high energy and aggression, with a tendency to force circumstances with others who will then try to stop you because they feel threatened. Conversely, you may have to contend with someone overstepping your boundaries. Instead of ego conflicts, use this energy to get a great deal of work done. On June 11th, Sun square Neptune between houses 9 and 6 is an aspect of deception resulting in confusion. The information you receive on the mental plane may be at odds with what your gut feelings are telling you about a work situation. On another level, do not permit any news you receive to activate your inherent fears. Your imagination may be in overdrive. June 13th brings Mars conjunct Neptune in the 6th house. Psychosomatic illness based on feeling overwhelmed by circumstances is possible. On another level, you may not have all the correct information needed to complete a job. Additionally, the desire to escape the mundane may be strong. Do so in creative ways instead of indulgence in drugs or alcohol. On June 18th, the planet Mercury turns retrograde at 14 degrees of Cancer in the 10th house sector. Also on June 18th, Mars sextiles Pluto between houses 6 and 4, a positive vibration under which to communicate with family members and suggest changes or reforms at home. The Sun enters Cancer on June 20th, ushering in the summer solstice and moving into your 10th house. Under Mars sextile Jupiter, also on June 20th, between houses 6 and 4, ask for the help you need from family. They'll be more receptive at this time. June 21st brings the new moon, 2:42 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 0 degrees of Cancer, 21 minutes in the 10th house, highlighting career concerns and responsibilities over the month ahead. Use this energy for a fresh start in your career. Implement new ideas and plans. This new moon is an annular solar eclipse that will be activated by Mars on June 27th, 28th, and 29th, emphasizing the concerns of this life area. The planet Neptune turns retrograde on June 23rd at 20 degrees of Pisces in the 6th house. Venus turns direct motion on June 25th at 5 degrees of Gemini in the 9th house sector. The planet Mars enters Aries on June 27th and moves into the 7th house. Mars sextile Saturn on June 28th between houses 7 and 5 favors getting together with friends for some outdoor activities. A good day to work off steam, hiking, or playing ball. June 30th brings the second hit at exactitude of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction at 24 degrees of Capricorn, 6 minutes retrograde in your 4th house sector. Also on June 30th, we have Mercury sextile Uranus between houses 10 and 8, and Mercury conjunct the Sun in the 10th house. Both aspects tell the story of intense mental activity and harmonious communication concerning career advancement, as well as relationships with superiors. If you are your own boss, this energy favors seeking assistance from a bank or government institution to further the profession you're engaged in. An excellent time for discussing and creating long-range plans.